Hello students, welcome to this online mentoring session for intermediate students, Paper-1 Accounting. I am Gupta.
I'm Asha Verma.
We both are here to guide you about how to prepare for the paper of accounting for November 16 examination. As you all know, the paper of accounting is very scoring. It is practical paper. If prepared well, you can score good marks in the examination. Adequate preparation, revision of the important key terms, adequate practice of the numerical problems, to remember the prescribed formats wherein they are prescribed, like Schedule 3, gives a format of preparation of financial statements of companies. You have to abide by the format for all the topics related with company accounts, whether it's Chapter 2, it's Chapter 3, Chapter 4 or 5 and 6. As you know, the Chapter 2 gives you the entire overview of Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. It gives you the complete guidelines regarding preparation of financial statements. Various numericals, various illustrations are given in the chapter itself. Unit 2 of the chapter is based on cash flow statement, where you are required to abide by AS3. In Chapter 3, Profit or Loss Prior to Incorporation, this chapter is slightly based on the concepts which you have studied regarding acquisition of business. When the business is run before the registration, before the incorporation, you have to follow certain principles. You have to follow accounting standards. In Chapter 4, which is based on bonus issue, again the format of Schedule 3 is important. The provisions of the Companies Act 2013 are important to be remembered by solving the practical problems regarding issue of bonus shares. Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 based on amalgamation and reconstruction, that is entirely the provisions of corporate restructuring which are applied therein. You have to remember the provisions of AS 14 also, because by solving the problems, you just cannot remain in isolation with the provisions of Companies Act itself, but you have to remember, you have to follow the guidelines, follow the provisions which are given under AS 14. So this is the entire overview of the major provisions of the company's portion, company accounts. As you know, the syllabus of Paper-1 is slightly vast, but the topics are simple, they are not cumbersome. And if preparation is good, you have well prepared your topics in advance before examination, adequate practice of the problems if you have done, then definitely nobody will be there to stop you from scoring good marks. And if you score good in practical paper like accounts, then definitely the clearing of your Group 1 and Group 2, if you score good in Paper 5 also, then automatically it will run through. So now we both are here to guide you about how you can effectively prepare for your examination. However, I know that the time is now short for you. If you have already prepared most of the chapters, then only it will suffice your purpose now. But still, we will give certain important guidelines about the preparation strategy, how to tackle the examination, what should be now the revision strategy, how to face the examination, what should be your pattern of attempting the examination, how to revise the key concepts of the chapters, provisions of the accounting standards, acts, which will definitely help you in attaining confidence while taking the examination. So Now, without wasting much time, let us take few queries which have been asked by the students, which we are receiving, and plus we will also take you through a PPT where we will guide you about the techniques, the strategy for effective preparation for this particular paper. Actually, there are two papers, as you all know, in intermediate, paper 1 in group 1 and paper 5, advanced accounting in group 2. However, the curriculum of paper 5 is lesser as compared to paper 1. The topics are more in paper 1, but the level of the knowledge somewhere or the topics are slightly cumbersome in paper 5. So definitely the efforts required for each topic in paper 5 are much more as compared to 1. So my advice to you is that most of the topics in paper 1 are quite simple. They are replica of the few are replica of the chapters which you have already covered in your graduation level or at foundation level. So you should concentrate more on the key concepts rather than emphasizing on the theory portions, and try to do more and more practice of the practical problems based on those key concepts. So this is the entire terminology for appearing in paper 1 in intermediate, and this this session is especially meant for the paper 1 students. Even if some paper 5 students are attending the session, they may also find it useful because the general guidelines of preparation, the general strategy for preparation for the paper of accounting will remain same for both the level of students. So please try to listen to this PPT very carefully, and you can apply those techniques in your real practical situations for effective taking the examinations. So now we will move to the PPT. This is regarding how to prepare for the paper 1. As you all know, this paper is of 100 marks, and the entire syllabus of the paper is divided amongst 15 chapters. All the chapters are important. Many students have asked me, you please guide how many chapters are important. You please note the disclaimer statement. I will continue in between also. Many students have asked me about how to prepare for the paper, and they have asked whether we are supposed to study all the chapters, because the syllabus is very vast. There are 15 chapters. We are not able to devote the time for all the 15 chapters. For this, I will guide you that all the chapters are important. I will not advise you to skip even a single portion, even a single unit. Not only the chapter, but I will not advise you to skip even a single unit. So it can you can make out that how important the chapters are. One cannot guess about the question paper. One cannot judge about the examination pattern. You can yourself see the past examination question papers, and you can judge the trend that every time, even if in one particular exam, some particular portion, some particular chapter is skipped, then definitely it will come in the next exam. Or maybe if the question is not asked for 16 marks from a particular topic, then it may be there for 8 marks or 6 marks. You have the choice in the questions which are serial about 2 to 6, but in first question you do not have any choice. So if it becomes part of question number 1, then definitely you will not have any choice. But still, for the other portions also, you cannot judge that which topic you can leave, because many questions have parts A and B. If one part you have skipped, the topic which is the topic on which the question is based, if you have skipped that part, if you have skipped, suppose you have skipped insurance claim. Now what will you do? A part is insurance claim, you have skipped that, but B part is investment account, which you are very comfortable with. Now 8 marks automatically lost because you are not able to attempt a part. And the other question also, the same situation is there. Maybe you are familiar with the average you did, but you do not know how to attempt accounts from incomplete records. So the situation is same. Now the all your efforts become waste, and you are not able to attempt the question paper in full. If you are not able to attempt the question paper for 100 marks, then how will you score good in this paper? Because there may be chances of deduction of marks due to less working notes, due to some other problems, due to your errors, the technical mistakes you have made. So now I will slightly go through the entire syllabus. I will help you in revising the entire key concepts of this paper, which will help you to make a quick glance of the entire 15 chapters. And I will also guide you about the pattern of the questions which generally come from any particular topic in the series. Now, first chapter is chapter 1, which is accounting standards. This chapter is very important. As you know, first question of the question paper, at the time when you see the question paper, the very first question is compulsory, and out of the other six questions, you are required to attempt any 5. That is 16 into 5, 80 marks, and the first question is of 20 marks. So, accounting standards, you have to read only those accounting standards which are covered in the curriculum for you. You are not required to read other standards. I will give you the list of the accounting standards. AS1, disclosure of accounting policies. AS2, valuation of inventories. AS3, cash flow statement. AS6, depreciation accounting. AS7, construction contracts. AS9, revenue recognition. AS10, accounting for fixed assets. And AS13, accounting for investments. And AS14, the last one, that is accounting for amalgamations. This means in total there are 9 accounting standards which are applicable for you. Now what will you do for these 9 standards? You cannot now, it's not the time. It's the first week of October. I will not ask you to now take the study material and you just start reading the entire provisions of the accounting standards. Then definitely no, you will be lost. You will not be able to read those standards. Now, what will you do?
Time is very short.
Time is very short. Now, what will you do? I will ask you to read only those paras which are bold and italics. You have to read only those paras which are bold and italics. That will give you the crux of the accounting standard. If you understand the crux of the accounting standard, then you will be able to attempt the case study based small problems which will be coming in the examination. So, I will also not ask you to remember the para numbers of the standards. You are not required to quote the para number of the standard in the examination. The para number, if you are very sure of, then only you write in the exam. If you are slightly unsure, like which provision of AS9 deals with the provision of uncertainty on revenue recognition, the effect of uncertainties on revenue recognition, which particular para of the standard tells about the magazines and subscriptions revenue recognition. You're not sure, but you still know the provision. So, based on the provision of the standard, after applying that particular para on the question, on the case study, on the given case study, make your judgment, answer the question without mentioning the para number. The question will be of 5 marks, and you will definitely, if the entire thing which you are writing is not vague, is completely correct, then definitely you will score 4.5 and
I think it will be beneficial to not to mention.
Not to mention. if they are very sure, then they can
Only
code.
then.
But most of the students do not know, they are not very sure of, but they still write to impress the evaluator. Many students write the they just to impress the evaluator, not to write. Yeah. Apply the provisions through examples, practice illustration on areas given in study material as well as practice manual. I have already told you that there are numerous, there are plenty of problems in my study material, the material which is being provided by the BOS to you and the practice manual. It is advised that after studying each and every standard, which I have told you, the list I have already told you, which are explained in chapter 1, there is one appendix also given at the end of the module 1. You are required to refer the bare text of the accounting standard also at certain situations where you're not clear from the crux, where the summary of the accounting standard, where the theory, where the explanation of the accounting standard is not clear to you, then you are also advised to refer the bare text of the accounting standard. These standards I have already told. Only these standards are applicable for the examination. In paper 1. Yeah, this mentoring session is specially meant for paper 1 only. However, many students have asked certain queries which belong to paper 5. If the time will be with me, then definitely I will make note of answering those queries also. However, they are related to paper 5, but still I will answer those queries if I will get the time after this PPT. After this PPT is over, I will try to resolve those queries also.
Move to the next.
Only these standards are applicable. You may note, and if you have July 15 edition of the study material, all these standards are given therein. Even if many students are confused, there is a notification which came on April 1st where certain standards were amended. There were few standards wherein the changes were made by the MCA, but you may note that this notification has not been made applicable. The notification issued on 1st April 2016 by the MCA is not applicable for this particular examination, that is November 16 examination, and if you have July 15 edition, it's well and good. If you have March 16 edition, it's more well and good. There is no major change in March 16 edition, but there are few illustrations, few practical problems which we have added for better understanding of the contents, for your better understanding only. So there is no, as such, there is no hue and cry. If you have the earlier one also, you can refer, but the provision, but you just check that you have July 15, not before, not addition before that. Many students have also asked that whether Ind AS are basically IFRS converse standards, whether they are applicable for November 16 examination or not. No, it's very clear. We have told you many times that this is not applicable for intermediate. Ind AS have been made applicable, but for final level students. For intermediate, whether it's paper 1 or whether it's paper 5, it's not at all applicable.
Only the list of the AS which we have mentioned is applicable
for paper 1. Only those AS, those accounting standards which we have already told, only those accounting standards are applicable, but the others, any Ind AS or the additional AS are not applicable for you. For paper 5 also, there is a certain list prescribed in their curriculum, only those accounting standards are applicable. Now, the major portion of our syllabus deals with company accounts. I have already told you that these chapters, chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, they belong to company accounts portion, that is corporate accounting. One full question generally comes from chapter 2, preparation of financial statements, and one full question may appear from either from Reconstruction or from Amalgamation. So generally, the coverage, the weightage is around 24, maybe 24, maybe 30. Marks is 32. 24 to 32. Scoring. Yeah. These basically these chapters are very scoring, and these chapters you cannot study in isolation. Like if you study chapter 2, 4 is automatically connected with it. 5 is 5, 6 are automatically connected with it. Basically, it's 6 also.
Yeah. That means students have to read this chapter in the continuation.
In continuation, yeah. If you have started reading chapter 2, then you read 3, 4, 5, 6 in line. Then you finish. Suppose if this week you are preparing chapter 2, then within this week only you prepare these chapters simultaneously, because if
All
once
chapters are interconnected, no?
if the link is
Huh.
lost, then definitely they will not be able to
Okay.
understand the link should not break for these particular
Because in
chapters.
chapter 2, we are trying to cover all the basic needs, all the basic formats of the company's account, and advanced level we cover in further in chapter 3, 4, and 5, 6. That means all these chapters are connected and interconnected with the chapter 2.
Because in chapter 2, as Asha has told, we have prescribed the formats for preparation of financial statements. Those formats are applicable for all these chapters. So these chapters have to be studied along. These chapters have to be studied at a time, not in different time. So now, what are the sections? What are the schedules for the Companies Act which are relevant for November 2016 examination? There is no change from May 16. What was the situation for May 16? That will remain. That will prevail. But I will tell you again. Schedule 3 to the Companies Act 2013, which was earlier revised Schedule 6, that is applicable. What Schedule 3 says? Schedule 3 gives you the format. It gives you the format for preparation of financial statement of company. What does financial statement mean? Financial statement mean statement of profit and loss, balance sheet, statement of changes in equity, and any explanatory notes. Any explanatory notes, the one therein, which are relevant for preparation of financial statements. So this schedule is very important. This schedule is very important to be remembered. If you are not remembering the schedule while solving the question of accounting in your examination, you will not be able to answer. Even if you have prepared the correct balance sheet, the total is matching, everything is fine. But if it is not in schedule, then you will not get any marks. This word schedule 3 is very important, and you have to give your balance sheet and statement of profit and loss in the prescribed format, which is prescribed by this particular format. Now, what is section 129? I will also tell you about the dividend distribution tax, which is a major where the majority of the students are confused how to apply dividend distribution tax in the questions related to the preparation of financial statement of companies. Let me request Asha to hand over for this particular portion. She will guide you how to the entire provision of dividend distribution tax under Companies Act 2013, and she will take a very small example which will help you in understanding the provisions. Now let us take the session for her.
Dear student, now we are trying to understand what is the DTT and how we will compute the DTT in the preparation of financial statement. DT is known as a dividend distribution tax because there is some provision which are related to DTT in the income tax have been changed. Hence, the calculation regarding the DTT is also changed in the accounting paper. First of all, in the DTT, the rate. What is the rate of DTT? In the DTT, we have the dividend distribution tax rate is 15%. The surcharge on it is 12% of 15% plus education and higher education cess is 3% on these total. That means the total comes to 17.304%. If the specific rate is given in question regarding the DTT, then you can use such rate for your calculation purpose. Otherwise, the rate which you have to follow for this calculation is 17.304%. Now, we will take a small example for the purpose of the calculation. The main changes in the DT is regarding for the grossing up. How to gross up the dividend for the purpose of the DTT. For example, there is a X Limited company and this X Limited has decided that it will distribute its dividend on the 5th April 2016, and amount of the dividend is 230 lakhs. The company wants to distribute this 230 lakhs, but with this distribution, this company has also give a tax of this 17.304%. Now, how will you compute this 17.30% on this 230? First of all, you have to gross up this amount. For grossing up, the base rate which we'll use is only 15%. Please note down, students, for grossing up purpose, the rate we will use is only the 15%. Now, how we will gross up this amount? The dividend given by the X Limited is 230 lakhs. Now we will add the grossing up amount 230 into 15% divided by 100 minus 15 is come to 14.58. That means for the purpose of calculation of the tax on the dividend, the amount we will use is 230 plus 40.58, which will comes to 270.59. You have to calculate tax on 270 amount rather than on 230. Only for the tax purpose of the tax calculation. We will calculate 17.304% on 270.59. That, and it will comes to 46.83. Now we have the two things. One, the dividend is 230. But we have calculated number one, dividend will remain 220, and tax on it, that means DTT is 17.304% of 270.59, and it will comes to 46.83. Only for the grossing up purpose, we have converted this 230 into 270, and for the grossing up, we will use only the base rate. Base rate is 15%, but DTT tax rate is 17.304%.
So I think the concept of dividend distribution tax might have been clear to all of you. The amount of dividend will remain same, that is 230 lakhs only. It will not change. But the students should not confuse from this grossing up. Many of the students are saying, many of the students interpret this as that now the dividend is 270.59.
No, it will be the 230.
It will remain at 230 lakhs only, and dividend distribution tax they will show it as an item in the statement of profit and loss as 46.83 lakhs. So this is a entire concept of dividend distribution tax, as the rates have changed and the concept is new. This we thought that it is, many of the students are finding it difficult, they are getting confuses. So we thought that we should explain the concept in this session itself.
That means in balance sheet they have to show the dividend 230 plus DTT 46.83.
So there will be two amounts which will be appearing in the balance sheet. One is dividend 230 lakhs and one is dividend distribution tax 46.83. So this the concept of grossing up was basically meant only for calculation of dividend distribution tax, but not for any other purpose.
Yeah.
So now
in the balance sheet the actual amount will appear, that is 230
lakhs only. So now we can how we will come back to one. So this is a PPT which we were discussing, And in between, we switched over to the concept of dividend distribution tax to elaborate to make you understand about the concept. Now, section 129. What does section 129 of the Companies Act say is that section 129 states that at every annual general meeting of the company, the BOD, that is Board of Directors, shall lay the financial statements of company. Now, what is it? What all this financial statement consists of is, as per section 129 of the Companies Act, is one is statement of P&L. Earlier, we used to call it P&L account. Other is balance sheet, that is prepared at the end of financial year, and third is cash flow statement. So it is very important to understand that now cash flow statement is also part of financial statements. However, it is prepared as per AS3 requirements only, and generally the questions which come in the examination require the student only to prepare balance sheet and statement of P&L only. Till now, the questions have come based on that only. And if there is a question in cash flow, that is a separate question in the paper itself, maybe of 8 marks or maybe of 12 marks. But as per the definition of financial statements, I would like to say that cash flow statement is also a part of it. And one more thing is statement of changes in equity, that we do not, we should know only the what exactly it is, but the preparation of this is not being discussed in our paper 1 and the explanatory notes. So this is the whole set of financial statements which is meant by section 1.
Which covers the 5 things.
Which covers, in total there are 5 things. But in our chapter 2 unit 1, we are restricting ourselves to these 2 things only.
Only the P&L and the balance.
Yeah, statement of P&L
So we have to focus only on the preparation of financial statement.
And the cash flow is again a separate unit which we are covering in chapter 2 unit 2, and that is completely based on the provisions of AS3. So till now, Asha, it's important to note, till now, whatever questions have been asked in the examination, they are based on these 2 items only. The consolidated question is based on these 2 items, and if a question is comes in based on cash flow statement, it's a separate question. Generally, it's a separate question, but still the student must be prepared for a question. Unexpectedly, it may come that any particular question is given, and all the 3 things are required to be prepared. So the student must be prepared for that. The information must have been given, which will through which you will be able to prepare the things. If you know the concept, if you have the understanding, I do not doubt that you will not be able to.
For the student benefit, we have covered this topic in unit 1 and cash flow in the unit 2
for better understanding. Only the separation has been made for better understanding. Now, manager remuneration aspect is also very important, which is completely discussed in unit 1 of the chapter as per Companies Act 2013. The main provision of section 197. Section 197 of the Companies Act deals with manager remuneration. Section 197 says that total manager remuneration payable by a public company to its directors, including MDs, full-time directors, and whatsoever they may call their managers, the total remuneration in a particular financial year shall not exceed 11%. There are a lot of provisions. There are many provisions under this portion of manager remuneration. You must know what is effective capital, how to calculate effective capital, what are the rates prescribed for the companies which are having adequate profits, which are having no profits, which are having inadequate profits. So these entire provisions, these are the sections which are governed by Act. So we have to follow the guidelines which are prescribed under Companies Act 2013. So there is no flexibility. You have to learn those provisions and then you have to apply. But generally, the question based on manager remuneration will be of 4 or 5 marks, or if it may be the concept of remuneration may be asked in this particular 16 marks question, which is based on statement of P&L. So that may also be the possibility. Schedule to the Companies Act. Schedule 2 is based on depreciation provisions. As you know, that there is a separate schedule under Companies Act 2013, which is based on depreciation. Many changes have been arrived herein now under Schedule 2, we have to understand the crux of the schedule only, and we have to understand that what is depreciable profits, what is that, how the profits will be arrived after providing for depreciation. You cannot declare dividend until you have provided for depreciation. These are certain provisions which we have to remember. So in unit 1, the majority provisions, the content of the unit you have to remember, and then only you can apply. You just cannot, certain things you have to understand, definitely yes, certain things you have to understand, but memorizing is also very important for this particular unit, because these provisions of the sections, these things, the formats, the provisions of the section, then they definitely you have to memorize. Without memorizing, you will not be able to apply them in the questions. So there are certain provisions which the students have to remember. Now, what are the provisions regarding bonus issue? Again, there are provisions. There have been changes in the bonus issue provisions. This is my chapter 4. In chapter 4, in bonus issue, what exactly is bonus? Bonus is capitalization of profits. If the company wants to declare bonus, then the company is free to declare after passing a resolution. The company may issue fully paid bonus shares to its members in whatsoever way it is, out of free reserves, out of now. There are what sources the company has to declare bonus. It may declare out of free reserves, securities premium, and capital redemption, that is CRR.
Ma'am, some students confused regarding the free reserves.
What is free reserves?
Yeah.
Now again, the definition of free reserves is very important to understand, because in Companies Act, the term free reserves is specifically being discussed, and the section 243, what does free reserve mean is any reserve which, as per the latest audited balance sheet of the company, are available for distribution as dividend. That means it must be available for distribution as dividend. Distribution as dividend. It means it is free, no charge to it. There is no charge attached to it. Provided that any amount representing unrealized gain, notional gains, revaluation or revaluation of assets, whether shown as reserve or otherwise, or any change in carrying amount of an asset or a liability, including surplus in P&L account, shall not be treated as free reserve. So you have to see the nature of the reserve very specifically. Any amount which is unrealized. Suppose you have created revaluation reserve. Now, what is the status of revaluation reserve? Revaluation reserve you have created on your own after revaluing your fixed asset. Definitely, revaluation reserve is not a free reserve. You have not realized the gain. Any change in the carrying amount of fixed asset, if you have made, and you have increased your reserves by crediting the amount to revaluation reserve, then definitely it is not free reserves. But these three, securities premium and capital, out of CRR and securities premium, you can always issue the bonus shares. One more thing is there, that the provision of section 52 and 55, provisions of section 52 and 55 clearly say that the company can issue fully paid bonus shares out of free reserves, but even if the company wants to make its partly paid up shares to fully paid up by way of bonus, it can do so, but not through these two sources. Securities premium and CRR are not allowed for conversion of partly paid up to fully paid up. However, fully paid bonus shares, you can, for purpose of issuing fully paid bonus shares, you can use these two sources. So these three sources in total you can use for declaring bonus as fully paid up. But if you want to convert partly paid up into fully paid up, then only free reserves are available. These two sources are not available. Now let us move to format of schedule 3. I have already told this thing we have already discussed, Asha. Let us move to
and cash flow we have
already discussed this thing. Now, very important, all the relevant notified sections of the Companies Act 2013 and all the legislative amendments. However, for Paper-1 accounting, I think provisions of companies like 2013 are more important. The notifications, the notified sections which have come up to the date of the cutoff date is 30th April for November 16 examination. The time span of 6 months is there. Afterwards, if any, if suppose on 10th May or 5th May there is some notification which has come, that notification is not applicable. What about chapter 5 and chapter 6? How should we approach amalgamation and reconstruction? What kind of coverage we should look at it with respect to? So this is very important topic. I have already told. Weight is at least 16 marks. You have to remember the provisions of AS 40. One thing is there, many of the students complain that they are not able to attempt the paper in time. So what should they do? Either they do not understand the requirement of the question paper, or they do not understand the requirement of the question and they waste time doing the unnecessary calculations or unnecessary working notes. If the entries are not required in the question on amalgamation or reconstruction, please do not give the journal entries. You are required to give the ledger accounts. If you are required to give the ledger accounts, please give the ledger accounts only. If you are required to give the balance sheet, then give the balance sheet only. The other calculation you can show in the rough working notes. Or if you are required to give journal entries, then only give journal entries. So, without wasting much time, let us move to the other topic. Average due date and account current. So now, up till chapter 6, majority of the portion was corporate accounting. That is from chapter 2 to chapter 6. Chapter 1 was based on accounting standards. Some of the queries the students are sending to us. Let me resolve those queries also. One student asked me, he is saying Bapun Tiki. I do not know I cannot pronounce the name. He is asking me to solve some practical problems rather than general query discussion. I feel very sad when the students raise such type of queries. What is the point in taking one particular illustration? If I take one particular problem in the mentoring session, then the entire problem will take me through 1 hour. Will it solve any purpose for the students? Why you students do not understand that this mentoring session is special? Our efforts are specially for you people. And we are taking this session only to guide you, to give you some recaps, to guide you about how to prepare, to make you revise your entire curriculum in an effective manner. So I really do not understand what sort of queries you are asking, whether you want your queries to be solved or you just want to waste time of other students also. So please restrict yourself to the level of the paper, to the requirement of the session, and do not ask the vague queries. It is my general request to all of you. One more student has asked me, what is the average time to be allotted to each question to finish the exam in time? You get 15 minutes. Generally, most of the students get 15 minutes. Before attempting the question paper. In that particular slot of time, what you can do? You can decide, after just getting the question paper, you start reading the question paper. Asha, we get 15 minutes for this purpose. Only 15 minutes you get. So
15 minutes is sufficient for reading the paper.
According to me, like 15 minutes are not less actually. In that period of 15 minutes, you can just give a reading to the question paper. You can decide the priority. You can decide the sequence in which you will attempt the questions. Like whether you will choose question 1, question 2. You can know. You can you know your level of preparedness. You know what exactly you will be able to answer first. Attempt the question at first, which you know the best. You can decide the sequence.
Increase their confidence.
Yeah, it will increase their confidence, and you can at that point of time only you can decide how much time you will be able to devote for one particular question. For question number 1, generally, I will advise students to take around 20-25 minutes. And for other questions, because question number first, whatever question you are taking, that is a question which you know the best. So not devote more than 20 minutes for that particular question. Then you come to another question which are five in which remains five in number for you to attempt. Now, after question number one, I'm saying after question number one, you have five more questions to attempt. Then you can decide the time left. If you have generally, you should not devote more than 20 to 25 minutes for one particular question, because generally this we want them to give a revision also to the questions. Maybe at one in one particular question you may stuck up, or you may get confused, or whatever. You earlier you were thinking that you will be able to attempt the question, and you start doing it, but in between the question you are stuck and your time is wasted. So that possibility may be there. To avoid that possibility, to remove those situations, we want you to decide in advance, to take the time in hand, and not to devote more than 20 to 25 minutes for one particular question. This is a strategy for handling the examination. Now, one more question. One more student has asked me, can you tell us a valuation procedure? That's what I was saying. I really do not know what to answer to such type of queries. Evaluation procedure is very simple. There is no such any hidden trials over there. Whatever you are attempting, you will definitely score marks for that. For each and every step, the marks are prescribed. If the question is of 16 marks, then if you do some mistake in one working note, then you will not lose the entire 16 marks. Each step of the question carries marks. Suppose one adjustment is wrong, and due to that particular adjustment of closing balance in trading account, your profit and loss account is also wrong, your other balance sheet is also wrong, then what will happen? Will the evaluator will deduct the entire marks? No, it's not so. Each step, each account carries marks, maybe 2 marks or 3 marks whatsoever. Only those marks will be deducted which is being allocated to the closing balance of that particular account. But as the fact is there that due to that mistake, your entire workings go wrong. That so we also understand this thing, that this mistake is not because of the other technical problem. This is only because of that particular figure. So you will definitely get marks for other accounts. Not to worry about that. I do not understand why there is a confusion among students. Each and every step carries marks, and you will the marks will be deducted only for that particular portion which you are doing wrong. Asha, am I right now?
Yeah, ma'am.
So now let us take other queries. Ronak, you are asking, can we make working notes in between the solution, or is it compulsory to be prepared only at the end of solution? Also, in Schedule 3 is the serial number in notes account column of the balance sheet of various companies if they are in order instead of. No, it hardly matters. Whatever way you are comfortable with, you can do. Whatever way you are comfortable with, you can do.
Ma'am, I think when you are going to prepare a financial statement,
In the financial statement,
then,
in the financial statement, you cannot.
how can you prepare the working notes between the solution?
In the financial statement,
I think you can make the working notes either in the starting of your solution,
not in the starting, in the question based on preparation of financial statements of the companies, and definitely at a time, but in case it's a question on average due date, or suppose account current, then in between you can average due date. One particular step is there, number of days, how you have calculated, be showing bracket, or
it depends upon only the question.
It depends upon the topic. But you yourself think, like you yourself think that you are evaluator, and if you are evaluating the answer script of one student, then what will impress you more, and what presentation you will be like.
Exactly, and for the presentation purpose, you can refer the study material and the practice manual.
Yeah.
I think it will be better for you than you use this study material and practice manual and practice your answer as per the presentation given in our material.
But if you find it very difficult to give all the working notes at the end, then what you can do is, like for small questions, in the end of the sheet itself, you can solve some rough work or something like that, and then you can give your working notes. If you are finding it difficult to to move to the 3-4 pages and then give it the end, no? Maybe the students may find it difficult.
Ma'am, only
For
at last it will depends only on the
question,
and the topic.
On the topic as well as the question and the level of the working notes required. Level of the working notes required also. So, is it necessary? Jay Javedi, I think you have joined us in between the session. Just now, I think you have joined, because this query I have already told at the beginning of the session. It's not necessary to quote the accounting standard. It's not necessary to quote the text on the accounting standards, but you only should know the provision. You can write in your own language. It is not necessary to quote the exact wordings of the standard.
The understanding of provision is necessary. You
Yes.
have to only mention the concept.
The crux of the provision you have to produce, and then you
and
have
the
to apply.
conclusion.
Yeah, then you have to apply that particular crux on the situation, on the case study scenario or problem which is given to you. Could you please help us revise? Jay Javedi is again asking another problem. Can you please help us revise how to prepare general ledger adjustment account? My PPT will give you the brief overview of this particular chapter also. When I will come to it, I will try to elaborate on this particular portion. But even if I will not be able to give that much time, you can mail me at my email ID. I will explain you in that email ID, or you can call me on my phone. I will explain you through telephone also. I think most of the queries of the students have been resolved. So now we can move to the PPT. Average due date and account current. Average due date and account current, slightly the students think that it's unimportant chapter. We can leave it. But my advice to you, do not skip it. Maybe it may become a part of question number 1 itself sometimes, and otherwise also 4 marks question or 6 marks question generally comes from this particular topic. And if A or B, again the permutation and combination.
It is a very simple chapter, and notes to so much time required for.
But many of the students I gather from the information, the data collected from the students, they do not want to understand, they do not want to read the provisions.
But students, it is a very simple chapter, very simple calculations are there, and you can save your marks by preparing this chapter.
However, 4 marks or 6 marks question will be coming from this chapter, not more than that. Average due date is a date on which the net amount payable can be settled without causing any loss of interest either to the borrower or lender. One particular date, suppose Mr. A has given 10,000 rupees to Mr. B for a specified period. Now, if Mr. B wants to return the money to Mr. A, some particular date they decide that no loss of interest is being made to any of the party, or they are mutual. Generally, the concept of average due date is not run in these type of transactions, which I was giving the example of. This was a case of loan. In that case, the concept of average due date is generally not applied. Average due date is generally applied in those parties, in those transactions where there are frequent transactions between the two parties, like debtor and creditor. There are frequent transactions, sale and purchase, sale and purchase, sale and purchase. So now they have to decide the balance amount to be paid on one particular date, that even debtor is not at loss and neither the creditor is at loss. So
that's why its name is
average due date. You have to calculate the due date of the transaction.
So there should be no loss to even either any party.
Of any of the either to borrower or to lender. When interest calculation becomes an integral part of the account maintained is called account current. So basically, the same concept of average due date is being applied in the problems on account current. When there are frequent transactions, frequent purchases and selling transactions between two parties, then account current is required to be prepared by any of the party, wherein they can make sure that what amount they have to pay on one particular date and with what interest. So these are very simple calculations. I will not waste time on this particular chapter. There are more things we can discuss here on this platform. we have prepared a chart line, we have prepared a pattern also to how to attempt the examination. So I will want to focus on those areas where the students are generally interested rather than to waste time on any individual topic. On any individual topic. So one particular student has specifically asked for GLA, general ledger adjustment. I will explain. I will try to explain this. What exactly is self-balancing ledger system? Now, self-balancing ledger system implies a system of ledger keeping which classifies ledgers as per nature of transactions, like sales ledger, purchases ledger. This is generally the concept of self-balancing ledgers is not
for the sales and the purchase ledger.
And basically in computerized accounting systems, generally it is not being maintained. This chapter is more relevant for small accounting firms.
But not for the basic foundation, I think students must know about this.
This chapter will clarify your all doubts related with account keeping.
Yeah.
With ledger keeping, account keeping, how to maintain accounts. So this chapter is important for that particular purpose. And when you go for audits, you will understand the relevance of this chapter. At this point of time, you may not think that the chapter is relevant. The significance of the chapter will be understood only
when student knows only the how to prepare the accounts to the manually, only then he can go for the software.
Yeah, and softwares in softwares, this entire ledger keeping is automatically taken care of. We are not required to do it manually, but we are doing it manually only for the purpose of making it more understandable. Now, what happens in this system? What happens in this self-balancing system? Generally, there are three ledgers: debtors ledger. I have told you that sales ledger or debtors ledger is one or the same thing. Debtors ledger is called as sales ledger. Creditors ledger is called as purchases ledger. And main ledger is general ledger. GLA, it is also called general ledger adjustment account. Now there are two things. In debtors ledger, GLA is maintained. In creditors ledger, GLA is maintained. But in main ledger, that is general ledger, sales ledger account and purchase ledger account, that is debtors ledger adjustment account and creditors ledger adjustment account are maintained. So how the cycle is there, you please understand. This is general ledger. In general ledger, we have purchase ledger adjustment account, sales ledger adjustment account, sales ledger adjustment account can also be called as debtors ledger adjustment account. Purchase ledger adjustment account can also be called as creditors ledger adjustment account. The balance of this account in general ledger should match with what? It should match with. It should match with purchase ledger, general ledger adjustment account in purchase ledger. General ledger, GLA will be maintained in purchase ledger also. It is a replica of this account. So both the balances of both the accounts should match. In the same way, the debtors ledger adjustment account in general ledger should match with the GLA, general ledger adjustment account in debtors ledger. So this is an automation. This is a complete reversal of the entries, and they should simultaneously match with. These accounts will help you to detect any frauds, any mishandling of accounts, any misfunding, or any lackness on the part of your accountant. So this is very important, where the entire accounting system, this system is mainly important. This system is mainly important where the accounting procedure of the company, the accounting procedure of the business entity is not automated. It is not computerized. Even if it's computerized, then it will automatically take care of. But if it is not computerized, then how will you detect that there is mishandling of the accounts? This is the only procedure. I have told you GLA is prepared in each of the subsidiary ledgers. Subsidiary ledgers are what? Purchase ledger and sales ledger. And general ledger would have bought ledger adjustment account. Bought ledger adjustment account is purchase ledger adjustment account. In reality, it is total creditors account. And sales ledger adjustment account is debtors ledger adjustment account. In reality, it is total debtors account. These accounts are known as, that is the purpose. I have told you, this is the only purpose, and these are called control accounts. In the entities who cannot automate their entire functioning, they keep this only for the sake of controlling their handling of accounts and liability. So I think the query of that J was asking about this query. I think his query might have been resolved. Even if you are unclear on certain issue of this topic, then I will give my telephone number at the end of the session. You can ask from me and Asha. We will be there to guide you. Chapter 9 and 10. Chapter 9 and 10 Chapter 9 is financial statements of NPOs. NPOs is non-profit organizations and accounts from income tax records. Chapter 10. These two chapters are very simple. The entire functioning of the chapters, the entire contents of the chapter are mainly based on the topic preparation of financial statements of business entities, preparation of financial statements of individuals, which you have already studied thoroughly in either in graduation or in foundation. In CPT. Preparation of final accounts for sole proprietor. Chapter 11, hire purchase. In this chapter, there were two methods earlier: hire purchase trading account method and stock and address method. They have been removed from the syllabus. So right now, you are required to study only cash price and interest expense method. And in the books of hire purchase, these two methods, these are very simple methods. I think after removal of HPP
it's
trading
very
method
small chapter.
and stock and address method, the topic has become very less, very small, and only I think 4 marks question generally, 4 marks I think generally comes from this particular topic. 4 to 6 is generally comes from this particular topic. It's a very small chapter. I don't want you to avoid this chapter. You can just, and this chapter will not take, the preparation of the chapter also will not take much time.
Yeah. So because there is only simple concept and the simple calculation.
Cash price is very simple. Interest expense method, same. For hire purchase, a hire vendor, you just have to pass the entries.
Within 1 to 2 hours, you can prepare
the chapter
and save your 4 to 6 months.
Yeah. And the concept of the cash price and hire purchase price, that is only important to be understood. How to calculate interest when the number of installments, and the amount of installment is given to it. That is the important. And the provision of repossession also is there. How to account for repossession of the hire purchase product. So chapter 12. Now move to chapter 12. Investment accounts. Investment accounts. In chapter investment account, generally the problems come for 8 marks. Provisions of AS2, valuation of inventories. When the provision of AS2 will be applicable, the provision of AS2 will be applicable only when you are holding the investment as a broker. You are handling the investment as a broker, you are not keeping it as an investment. If you are transacting you are making the transaction investment on a daily basis and your main intention is to sell the investment, then definitely AS2 will be applicable. Otherwise, AS13 will be applicable, and that will guide you about how to value the closing balance of investment, end of accounting year, how to maintain investment account. In this particular chapter also, I will like to explain the provision of right issue. Many of the students have asked me this very Asha we have received yesterday also, and today also one phone call came. I asked him to listen to the session, and I will resolve here itself. What the AS13 says about rights. First of all, what is rights? What is bonus? Bonus I have already told. If the company announces a bonus issue, then what will happen? I, as an investor, will not have any in cost column, nil amount, but in number of investment.
In the case of bonus shares.
In the case of bonus share, number of shares it will increase. So without having any cost, the number of shares will increase. Definitely the value of the shares, without
a single rupee, I will receive a share.
I will receive a share.
Then
so value of the shares
are bonus shares.
Yeah. But in no entry I will have to pass. Nothing I have to do. I will just raise the number of shares and just is the value of the shares without doing anything. So my investment account will automatically increase by the value of the bonus shares. What will happen in the case of rights? If a company announces rights, what will happen?
That means it is giving me a choice to.
I have been given a choice whether to apply for it or whether to sell it. If I apply for it, then at what price I am taking, what price the company is giving, that will be added to the cost. The price maybe suppose 1 rupee per share and 100 shares I am taking. And number of shares, 100 shares will increase, and value of shares will automatically increase by the cost price. Cost price on that particular day, but at the year end, definitely the value will be determined by the principal. Closing value will be determined by the principal average cost or market value, whichever is less, by applying the principle of AS2. AS2 will for valuation purpose, AS2 I will have to apply. There is no choice for me. Now, in case I sell the rights, the main problem is with selling of rights. If I sell the rights, what will do?
Sell the
When I sell the rights, no, after buying I will not. After the rights itself,
as a
right is announced, I am selling the rights itself, not the shares. After becoming the shares,
please
that
note
is
down,
my.
students, this is only related to the
Yeah.
when you are selling your rights.
Yeah, after availing those rights shares, then they become the shares. They become the normal shares for me.
Yeah.
So the treatment after availing those rights shares, those shares will become the shares for me, and I can do whatever I want. Normal shares principles will apply. But if I sell the rights, what will happen? If I sell the rights, AS13 clearly says that you cannot credit the selling amount to investment account. You have to credit it to P&L account.
That means it will not part of our investment.
It will not come part of our investment account.
It is not converted into shares.
It is not
just only a right.
Yeah, but there is one situation in which it may come to our investment account.
That means there are two situations.
Yeah, there are two situations. This is a general perception. This is a general situation where the where the sale of rights will not come to our investment account. It will just be credited to P&L account. The remote situation is also there. I am telling the remote situation only for the sake of the purpose, for awareness, for knowledge, and the students may be given that remote possibility in the examination question. Then what will they do? So let us explain the remote possibility also. Suppose on 1st January 16, a company announces right shares at rate of ₹10. And the company's own shares were quoted at that time at ₹50. So now what will happen? I do not subscribe for any rights. I just go to the market and sell those rights. On 1/2/16, I have been given the option. I can take the rights, I can sell the rights, but the company is offering me the rights at ₹10. I sell those rights at ₹5. 100 shares were offered me as rights. 500 rupees is my gain. I'm not availing those rights. It's my gain. 500 into 5. On 1st January 16, at the time when the company announces the rights, this was a come right value. What is meant by come right value? Before the date when the company was announcing the rights, this was a value, 15 rupees. Immediately when the company offered the right, the X right value of the share in the stock exchange came to rupees 30.
Goes down.
It means the people were expecting the rights, and the company had already somewhere the information was there that the company would announce the rights. The market value rose. But now at the same time when the company announces the rights, the market value dipped again. So it is a X right value. So if in such a situation, these 500 rupees will come to investment account and that will reduce the value. They will be credited to investment account rather than P&L account because the value of the share has reduced after becoming X right. So it means when I purchase the shares before the announcement of right share was made by the company, then I purchased at the higher value. And after declaration of rights, the value dipped. So definitely that dip in the value is associated with my sale price of rights. And I had purchased it before announcement of rights at a higher rate in that case. So the general provision of AS 13 is very clear. I think I have explained it. I will clearly tell you that if after becoming ex right, the value of the share dips and it is clearly visible from the market indicators that the value in the share has dipped due to the declaration of rights, then it means the deterioration, the decline in the value is associated with the rights. Then you have to use the value. Right? You had purchased the investment at a higher rate. This is the only remote possibility. But otherwise, you just remember the provision of AS 13 that you have to straightforward, you have to credit it to P&L account. But in this remote situation, what will you have to do? You have to credit it to investment account. Now, insurance claim. There are two types of insurance claim. Insurance claim again is slightly the chapter which is slightly boring. Many students find it boring, but still, generally 8 marks question generally comes from this. 8 to 12.
Maybe
marks.
sometimes 12.
Asha is saying 12. Then 12 marks question may also come. I was remembering only 8 marks question, but you have to prepare it well because 12 marks question, as Asha is remembering, 12 marks question might have come in some particular examination. Insurance claim for loss of stock in case of fire. Insurance claim for loss of profit. So there are two types of possibilities. One is loss of stock. In loss of stock, I think is very simple. Only average clause the students are required to apply.
That's why I'm saying that in case of loss of profit, it can be of 12 marks.
The loss of stock generally will come only for 4 marks or 6 marks. But Asha is remembering about loss of profit.
More calculations.
I am more comfortable in loss of stock. Now, Asha, you are comfortable in loss of profit. That's why you are remembering that thing. So, claim for loss of stock can be studied under two heads: total loss, amount of claim, that is actual loss. And this thing is, I'm not going to waste time on this. Partial loss, average clauses apply. You can all very well study from the study material. The content of the study material regarding this chapter, the theory portion which is given is good, and you can understand from that. This is very simple. Loss of profit normally covers the three items. What is it? What three item means? Loss of net profit, standing charges, and increased cost of working. What is loss of net profit? If suppose the fire is there, then definitely for some particular period of time you will not be able to run your business. Maybe 2 months, maybe there will be dislocation also.
Yeah.
Then there will be definitely your profit will be reduced, your sales will be reduced, your profit will be reduced. So that is loss of profit, which the insurance claim can guarantee you, which the insurance claim can give you if you have taken the insurance policy. What are standing charges? Even if you are not operating, even if you have dislocated, but certain charges you have to bear with. Suppose you have employed some staff, which is permanent staff, or you have taken some electricity connection. Even if you are not running, minimum electricity bill you have to pay, minimum MCD tax, all local taxes you have to pay. Even you have to pay the salary of the manager and staff. You cannot say you go today and we will call you after 2 months when we will start running the business. That you cannot. Even if you say the manager will go to some other company, then you cannot. You will be when you will think of running the business, then you will start searching for manager, staff again. The entire process you have to do again. You will not find the persons.
In every business, there are some standing charges always.
Always. Any increased cost of working. Increased cost of working is basically dislocation charges. Like you are able to survive with the business, the fire is there, but you are able to run with the business, but there are certain increased charges. Like you have to shift your go down for time being till the time the walls or the businesses suffer due to the fire, or you have to shift the business. Dislocation charges may be there. You have to hire trucks to shift the materials from one place to another. These are increased cost of working. Normally, the insurance policies cover all these three, but still it depends upon the contract with the insurance company and what type of premium they are taking. if definitely they will cover all these three, and the terms and conditions are satisfactory for the part of the client, then definitely they will charge a higher premium amount. So we should not indulge in those aspects, but we should just restrict ourselves to how to claim, how to calculate the claim for loss of profit. There are two things which will be covering therein. One is net profit, which has been lost due to that contingent, due to the mishappening, and one is a insurance standing charges. Standing charges are also insured. Standing charges may be insured if agreed with the insurance company. They are generally insured. Gross profit, insured standing charges minus net trading loss, if any, and it will be proportionate to insured standing charges, and then all standing charges of the business. So the insured standing charges, I'm again saying the standing charges should be insured, and they will be proportionate to the, if you have not insured all the standing charges, then what claim you will be getting, that will also be become proportionate to the total charges, whether insured or non-insured, like average clause, which was applied in loss of stock policy. Partnership is a very simple topic: admission, death, retirement, how to calculate goodwill, treatment of JLP, and how to prepare profit and loss appropriation account. These concepts we have already discussed in CPT, and even in 12th standard also we have generally the students have already studied these concepts, so no need to tell them again. If you have some specific query with partnership accounts, you can mail me your doubts for resolving them. Chapter 15 is it's a theoretical chapter. There is nothing to understand much on this particular portion. Just you can see the trend of the questions from the practice manual, from the past examination question papers. I think 5-6 questions are generally there, which frequently come in the examination. Even if you concentrate only on those 4-5 questions, I think you will be able to succeed. Generally, 4 marks question only is asked from this particular topic. So let us, without wasting much time, Asha, you take over the session now, and you give the general guidelines, because otherwise I will be just explaining the topics.
Queries have been asked from
examination strategy, examination guidelines, how to prepare for the examination. Listen to Asha very carefully. She will explain the entire strategy to tackle the examination, how to crack the examination, how to face the examination, what you should do not to lose confidence, how to bravely appear the examination. She will explain in a very effective manner. I have listened to her quite a number of times and I was very much impressed. So please listen to her carefully.
Some students have asked question regarding whether the study material, which edition of study material is applicable. Student, please note down that July 2015 edition is applicable for the November 2016 exam. One of the students is also asked whether there is any change from May 16 to November 16. There is no such change. You can use all the material which you have, which is related to the July 15 edition. There is a question regarding whether the RTPs and MPTs provided by the BOS section is sufficient for the preparation. Student, these RTPs and MTPs are only for your self-evaluation.
MTPs are Asha mock test papers, which we have already hosted on the website.
We have already hosted.
And you can attempt those questions. They will judge your level of preparedness. You will yourself test the level of preparedness, and you can you can attempt. You can check the answers. You can know the level of your effectiveness or in your preparation. You can even if any doubt is there, you can ask from us also.
There is a query in which some students have asked how to answer the case studies based question. Case studies based questions are generally related to the accounting standards, in which we have already explained you. For these type of the question, analyze the fact of the cases and then apply the provisions of the standard, and after application you are also required to conclude the solution. Student, please note down, for the accounting standards question, conclusion is very much necessary. So after applying the provision, conclusion must be given. How to study the effectively and remember the concepts. For this purpose, you can refer to how to face CA examination for the paper 1 accounting, and also you can refer the journal of the chartered accounting student in the 2015 issues, in which we have provided how to study. In our study material, we have also provided how to study and how to make the notes. The how to face the examination is also available in our website. You can also view this.
And the study plan.
The study plan key to effective is also given in our study material in module 1.
One of the study material, you can also refer that. I think they will not be able to locate this how to study by referring the past edition of the student journal. They can just refer.
But in every study material, in every edition, we have given these key points.
Yeah.
In July
15, in July 15, it's there. Most of the students might be in July 15 edition only.
Because the key points of a particular chapter given at the beginning of the chapter in practice manner also. And how to the strategy for the preparation. For this strategy of preparation, you are advised to equip yourself with the syllabus of accounting. Assimilate the knowledge inputs provided by the BOS. BOS provided you loads of the study material, like the study material, the practice manual, mock test papers, the RTPs, and these will always helpful you to prepare your examination and in the preparation of your strategy. And then you can plan your study in a manner that you keep time for the 2 rounds of the, I think 2 rounds is already completed. It is now the final revision time.
It should be now the 3rd round, that is the final revision round. Because
and now you have to only the practice your questions. Now please students note down, select the some good questions and then practice them. It will help you in the learning the concept and retaining your concept so that you can use those concepts in your examination time. And it is very helpful for you. At this time, you can prepare your notes, which will help you at the time of examination time. During the examination days, you can use your notes to revise the concepts and note down the some important questions or the important notes which will help you in the revision time of the examination days. We have already told you that all chapters are important because each and every chapter have carrying some marks, either the 4 marks, 8 marks, 6 marks or 16 marks.
Pattern of the questions I have already told. We'll skip this. Even if they can refer the previous question answers towards as pattern.
For approaching the numerical problems, we have already told you this type of the question, you have the conceptual clarity is very much important. At this time, you have to read the concept carefully, try to retain them, and revision is very much necessary, and point out those concepts in your notes so that you can revise quickly and remember them. For the theory-based question, you should have to think the some points, the given information and the requirement of the question. The 15 minutes of the time which you have, which is given before the examination is very good use of the time.
You can use it in effective manner. You can decide your strategy.
And knowledge aspects and apply it very carefully.
Write the answers clear and crisp so that the evaluator can give you marks. If you write vague answers without sticking to the point of the requirement of the question,
it will waste your time and you can
waste your efforts and you will not get any marks.
If you think can be 2 types of the approaches, then please note down which types of assumption you are taking solving the exam. By giving a suitable note, you can solve the question.
Refer our webcast. This is regarding, but I think this is not the time to tell them all this because now the time is very near. We can just make a.
I think plan is already made because it is a time of the exam year.
All the topics you should have. I think you should have studied in the integrated manner only. This is very important.
This is important. How to improve the marks in the examination? It is a very important. Please note down. First of all, read the question carefully, try to understand the requirement of the question, only then apply the provision. And first write the answer which you know the best. As we have already explained you, the 15-minute times is the best time for you. Try to read the question paper and select the question which you know the best, and then attempt this and solve it very clearly, and try to make a good handwriting so that the evaluator can easily understand the solution which you have given. And make practice. This is the time. Make practice and practice so that you can make a speed and you can attempt your question within the 3 hours. And all the assumptions and working notes make clearly in your solution. It is a very important, because there can be a question which have the many of the type of the answer. You can give the suitable assumption and solve it accordingly.
If you have not quoted the assumption, then you may lose marks. But if you have stated the basis on which you have solved the question, then you will definitely not lose marks. And the evaluator will consider your assumption also, and will consider your solution as the correct one, if the assumption is quite reasonable.
And how to manage the time in examination? Make the optimum use of 15 minutes given for the reading. Go through all the questions quickly. Select the question that you will be attempting from the question, and mark the question which you will be attempting the first, and then allocate an estimated time for each question. Ma'am, this is already you have explained in the starting of the session.
Yeah. But this strategy to plan for the examination is very important, because many
and
of
with
the
the help
students,
of the mock test paper, you can plan your strategy.
And many of the students complained that they were aware, they knew that how to attempt the question, but they were not able to complete the.
But for the best preparation of the strategy, attempt the mock test paper. At least 2 or 3 mock test paper will help you.
They will train you. They will train you to adhere to the time pattern and to adhere to the
and
time
please
limit.
follow the guideline given in the mock test paper. Only then you can plan your strategy for attempting your exam.
Yeah. Please note the, I think, our mail IDs. You just note that these are the mail IDs and my contact number. Me and Asha, we are there at this number. Then I will take some of the queries which we have received.
Please note down the mail IDs. Mail IDs are SEEMA, Seema@ICAI.in. The next one is Asha, Verma@ICI.in. You can also send your query through this mail, and you can also contact with this phone number 30120. This is the STD code, and then 3045916. It is our landline number. You can contact these through.
I think most of the queries of the students might have been resolved, but even if still you have certain queries, we are giving you the mail ID and the telephone number. You can ask us on those numbers, on that number, so that we will be there to guide you. A few queries are there which we would like to answer. Many of the students have asked about this query. One student has asked me about the what is the chance in the examination that the question on combination problem on insurance claim. I think he is asking about the combination of loss of profit and loss of stock policy. I cannot say that this type of problem will not come, but many times this type of the problem have come in the examination. So there is the possibility that again this type of the question come. You are advised to solve these type of the questions also, which involve both type of the claims. I think in the practice manual also there may be a certain problem. You can take that problem and practice accordingly.
It's time to practice and practice.
Practice and revision. It's a time for practice and revision. One student has asked me about JLP. However, JLP was covered in CPT at length, but still I will see whether there is time or not. There are 2 or more queries there. I will answer those queries. There are one student has asked, there are changes. Asha has answered already. There are no major changes.
No major changes.
Yeah, there is no major
From
changes.
May to 16.
Yeah, one more student has asked about that whether it is a mandatory requirement that all parts of a question, all subparts of a question should be attempted at one place, or we can do it otherwise also. There is no as such, there is no mandatory requirement, but it is always good. It is always desirable that you can skip the numbers. Either you can attempt question number 7 first and question number 1 at last, but I
But
will
subparts should be
advise
at
you
one place,
that
no?
all the subparts of a question, if question 1A, 1B, 1C, they should be at one place in a chronological order only. And there is no hard and fast rule that you start a new problem for a next page. He has also asked that whether we should start from next page itself or we can run into the continuing page. But
For the better presentation,
for better presentation, and if we, there is not much space which is being wasted. If you have written only 2 lines, then
you can start with
then
the
you can
same
start.
page.
But otherwise, it's always advised to you that you start from a fresh page. It is better. It gives a better look. And regarding the parts, we have very clearly told you that please make it a note that all the subparts of the question should be attempted at one place only, because in that case, otherwise the evaluator may skip any of the part and you may lose marks.
It may be case he has given the marks, but
yeah, that is the same thing. Now skipping may be there. One student asked me to explain JLP. If we have time, we can explain. JLP is basically, there are 3 treatments possible for JLP, joint life policy. It is the provision. It is a policy which is being taken by the partners to help in their financial hardships when a partner dies or a partner retires, because in that case they have to pay a huge sum of amount to the dead partner. So or the family members of the deceased partner. So they get the insurance from the company, and this policy is known as joint life policy. All the partners, by mutual agreement, they take the policy and they pay the amount to the company. Now, what are the accounting treatment there for this joint life policy? There are 3 methods. One is we can book it as an expense. In that case, there is nothing extraordinary. Just whatever premium you are paying, you just charge to P&L account every year, and at the time, either at the maturity of the JLP or at the time of the death or whatever the mishap, you get the money back. You take it as income and credit to all the partners' account in their profit sharing ratio. This is very simple. Now the second method is JLP. When you are treating the JLP as an asset, in that case, what you do, you treat the JLP at the surrender value every year. You create the asset for that account and you keep it in the balance sheet. In that case, what will you do? When at the time of the maturity or at the time of the death, you get the money. Then whatever balance you already had shown it in the balance sheet as the surrender value of the JLP. After the balance amount, suppose you receive 1,50,000, you were already showing it as a asset in your balance sheet. Then only 50,000 you have to book more. You book it, credit it to partner's capital account and take it as an asset. And that is also not very difficult. And the third method is creation of JLP reserve account. These 3 methods are there. Generally, in your questions, specific problem on JLP will generally does not come, but in the problem based on death of a partner or some situation like this, the treatment of JLP may be required. So I think the concept of JLP is this only. The 3 accounting treatments you should be familiar with. The accounting treatments in these 3 situations, in these 3 methods. These are 3 methods basically accounting for accounting of JLP, and any of the methods you can follow. If nothing is prescribed, then you can take any of the methods, but generally there is you will be able to judge, because if in the balance sheet JLP is appearing, it means it's an asset. If it's an asset and a reserve is also appearing, then it means JLP reserve is appearing, then it means it's a third method. Or if nothing is appearing but they are paying, then definitely it's an expense method. So I think most of the queries we have taken, and we have tried to resolve as many queries as we could resolve in this banking session. So now we will close the session, and we have already given you our mail ID and contact number. If you have any difficulty, you can call us or you can mail your queries. So now I will say best of luck and
all the best.
All the best for the exams.
And try to revise and make more practices.
Hope you score good marks in the examination. If you score good marks, please remember us. Don't forget us. Okay, bye.